Hi, I'm Coach Roy Benson. This program will offer information to all levels of runners. Whether you're a jogger who's been out running for fitness following Kenneth Cooper's classical formula of 3 aerobic workouts for 20 minutes per week, or whether you're a veteran racer, you've run a lot of different 10Ks and 5Ks, this program is designed to help you become a finisher and then secondarily to finish faster. What I want to make sure everybody understands is there are components of a training program that allow you to train at different levels of effort.
These levels of effort are the ones that duplicate the physical and psychological conditions of racing. By mixing these components of a conditioning program together in the proper sequence, you'll prepare yourself to reach your full competitive potential as an athlete. Now, after studying training programs for 32 years as a runner, and for 24 years as a coach, and for 17 years as a physiologist, I've defined 3 essential components of training that elicit the physiological responses known as getting in shape. To begin getting in shape, you must first develop your endurance, which is the ability of a muscle to repeat a movement. In running terms, endurance is your ability to finish. It's simply putting one foot in front of the other until you've covered the chosen distance, whether it's 3.1, 5 even, or 6.2 miles, no matter how much you have to slow down in order to finish. You'll begin developing your endurance by either walking or jogging or even pushing a stroller 20 to 30 minutes per workout, just hard enough to elevate your heart rate to around 70% of its maximum capacity. This highly aerobic level of exercise teaches the muscles how to burn fats more efficiently, thus extending the supply of glycogen so more and more distance can be covered before you fatigue. Developing your endurance is a highly aerobic activity. The closer you keep your level of effort to 70% of maximum, the more efficiently you'll develop your ability to go further. Every runner can calculate his or her own level of effort by using a target heart rate of plus or minus 5 beats over and under 70% of max.
All right, here comes the pulse rate. Stop and count your pulse. Ready? Count.
The calculations are simple. Subtract your age from 220 beats a minute and you'll have your current predicted maximum heart rate at exhaustion. Then take 70% of this number and you have your endurance building and endurance maintenance rate in beats per minute. Now, occasionally, stop during your efforts and count your pulse for 6 seconds. After multiplying by 10 to convert to beats per minute, you'll know whether to speed up or slow down.
Count.
Or, like some of the runners in our program, you can simply wear a heart monitor and have the whole calculation done for you. Since it's so easy to reach 70% of maximum, few of us have ever had to speed up our workouts. In fact, most of us overtrain at the endurance level and need to slow down.
Looking great. Looking good. 12:16 at the turn. Looking good.
For example, veteran competitive runners who can finish 10Ks in 50 minutes, which is an average of 8:03 per mile for the race pace, should find their heart rates close to this 70% number while jogging at around 10.5 minutes per mile. A 40-minute 10K runner would slow his 6:27 per mile race pace down to 8.5 minutes per mile to work on his endurance. A world-class female who can run 10,000 meters in 32 minutes would slow down from 5:09 per mile to 7 minutes per mile on her endurance runs. After initially building your aerobic base by several easy 70% efforts per week for several weeks, this workout then becomes the easy day for rest and recovery from the 2 other harder workouts making up our training program. Once you've built enough endurance to finish 5, 8, or 10,000 meters, by jogging 2 to 3 miles beyond your race distance, it's time to start improving your finishing time. This requires the development of the second component of athletic fitness, your stamina. To me, stamina is the runner's ability to maintain race pace. It means not slowing down over the last part of a race. Physiologically, it's the development of your circulatory system to better deliver oxygen and energy by increasing the number of capillaries permeating the working muscles. Running hard enough to go slightly into oxygen debt will develop your stamina. This level of effort is known as your anaerobic threshold, and of the three components of training, it's the hardest to do. It's hard because it requires that you run right at 85% of your maximum. You'll find that this takes, probably to your dismay, a pace only 20 to 25 seconds per mile slower than your race pace. To use the earlier examples again, if you're aiming for a 50-minute 10K, you'll slow down from 8:03 per mile pace to about 8:25 per mile when you're doing an AT run. A 40-minute 10K pace is 6:27 per mile, and the appropriate AT pace for this level of fitness is 6:50 per mile. For our world-class female, who averages 5:09 per mile at race pace, the right 85% effort of an aerobic threshold workout is 5:30 per mile. In fact, AT runs are just thinly disguised time trials, but with one very important difference. You don't have to go all out at the end. Actually, it's just the opposite, because you'll be slowing down a little in an effort to avoid going above 85%. We want just a little buildup of lactic acid, not a terminal amount. Still, this is a hard workout because you'll be running just 20 to 30 seconds per mile slower than race pace for 1/2 to 2/3 of your race distance. This workout is usually done once per week over a 2 to 4 mile distance for 10K runners. The key here is moderate but extended stress right at the edge of lactic acid buildup. Since this is considered a hard workout, it should be preceded by and followed by easy days of endurance running at 70% levels of effort.
Okay, here we go. Ready, set, go.
The final component of a good training program is speed work. In my old coach's dictionary, speed work is defined as simply running faster than race pace. Physiologically, this effort develops your maximum oxygen uptake or your ability to huff and puff and not get tired. For us distance runners, this does not mean sprinting all out for short distances. Unfortunately, for about 9 out of 10 runners, this is exactly what they do, and because they've made speed work into such a hard workout, they usually either get hurt doing it or they avoid it completely. Although there are times when you're allowed to sprint short distances as part of the peaking process, that type of speed work is not difficult because you take long rests in between the runs in order to get your heart rate back down to the low aerobic levels. That way, lactic acid won't build up. And again, by using your heart rate to monitor your level of effort, you'll find that the fast running necessary to build up your maximum oxygen uptake takes you to only 90 to 95% of your maximum. I find that a workout of 10 to 12 times 440 yards will usually do the trick. By jogging in between each repeated 440-yard run, that's one lap around a conventional high school track, until your heart rate recovers to 70% of maximum, you'll find that you really won't get up to the fatiguing 95% level of effort until about the last 1/2 or 1/3 of the workout. Runners whom I have on this speed workout program are surprised at how easy it is to reach the needed level of effort. Referring again to our earlier examples, a 50-minute 10K runner should run his 440s in about 1 minute and 50 seconds. A 40-minute 10K runner should take 1 minute and 29 seconds to do his 440s. And our 32-minute 10K runner will take about 72 seconds to run their one lap. Try running 8 to 10 times 440 in your first workout, and then build up to a dozen of them. You'll feel guilty, probably, because you'll find it's running a lot easier than you expected. Those are the components of a training program designed to develop all of your physical potential as an athlete. The key is putting them together in a pattern with a logical sequence. For example, a typical weekly routine would be something like this. 1, a longer endurance run on Sunday of up to 10 or 12 miles. 2, short endurance runs of 2 to 4 miles on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for the purpose of rest and recovery. 3, speed work of 8 to 12 times 440 on Tuesday. 4, a medium effort on Thursday, something like aerobically running up hills and then running hard on the downhills to help your speed. And then on Saturday, a 2 to 4 mile anaerobic threshold run. The components, when put together logically, are going to make you the real runner that you always wanted to be. Now, once you've put together these basic ingredients of a running program, there are several other training activities you need to add to your routine. Stretching exercises develop flexibility, a very important component of running speed. Loose muscles allow a longer stride and an easier effort. Current wisdom offers that it is not as safe to stretch cold muscles. In fact, if you're just going for an easy endurance maintenance run at a slow pace, you don't need to stretch really until you've finished your workout. That's when you need to loosen up muscles that have tightened up from the use over and over again of a short range of motion that's involved in jogging. Notice sometime how much stiffer you feel in the hamstrings and the calves after a long, slow run, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, however, before a fast interval workout or a race, you want to stretch as a part of your warm-up, but only after first jogging a mile or a mile and a half to heat up and relax the muscles. This will help you loosen them up and warm them up before you try to stretch out.
While running may be great exercise for your cardiovascular health, we found that running needs to be supplemented in order to have the best in health and to be at your competitive best. If you're interested in just finishing the race, or if you're interested in finishing it in a personal record, you really should consider some supplemental training along the lines of progressive resistance. Now, it doesn't take a $97,000 line of Nautilus equipment. You can use a device as simple as this magic muscle machine, a piece of surgical tubing. The idea behind any progressive resistance training to increase your strength is very, very simple. You want to overload the muscle within a set of 10 repetitions so that the last 3 repetitions give you a little bit of Jane Fonda's famous burn, baby, burn. For example, if we wanted to work on our bicep strength, all we would do would be to find enough length in the tube to allow us to do 10 repetitions, and on the 8th and the 9th and the 10th ones, do a little bit of a struggle. That's the overload that brings about the muscle adaptation that leads to more strength. Now, you can use a magic muscle machine like this, or you can use a nice piece of Nautilus gear where it's all set up and you can get both arms at the same time. Whether you like to use the Nautilus with its nice, smooth, controlled action, whether you like to use free weights, whether you like to use calisthenics, or something as handy for your home as the magic muscle machine, surgical tubing, the principle is the same. Overload the muscle. When you don't have any resistance, add a little extra poundage, shorten up a little bit on the machine, but try some strength training. It'll make you faster, it'll make you healthier. One of the lessons that coaches and athletes have learned during the running boom was that running sometimes is not enough. In order to be athletically healthy, we often need to complement our running. Cross-training has come into vogue. Runners now spend some days substituting biking, like I'm doing here, and swimming for running workouts in an effort to keep their legs nice and fresh and strong, to eliminate muscular and biomechanical imbalances that develop. One of the nice benefits of the new exercise bikes is that they can simulate outdoor riding by programmatically giving you hills to go up and down. They can give you a steady climb. They can give you easy parts and hard parts so you move your heart rate up and down. It gives you a good cardiovascular workout, but still allows your legs the relief from the pounding on the pavement. Cross-training, swimming, biking, rowing, going to aerobics classes, all offer that same sort of alternative to just more mileage out on the road.
Now that your training is going perfectly, what about all that energy that you're going to need? We've asked an expert in sports nutrition to help us with questions about your diet.
From a performance standpoint, we're looking for a diet that's very high in carbohydrate, low in fat and moderate in protein. We're looking for about 60 to even 80% of the calories coming from carbohydrate. And probably we're looking at 20 to 30% from fat and 12 to 15% from protein. One of the problems is carbohydrates have got a bad press over the years. And people think that carbohydrates are fattening. So the first thing that they cut out when they go on a diet or when they try to improve their diet are breads, cereals, potatoes, pasta, and those are exactly the things that they should be adding to their diet rather than taking out.
Yeah, I think our job as nutrition experts is to let people know that carbohydrates provide the rocket fuel of performance. It's converted into glycogen, stored in their muscles, which makes them really perform at high levels. What would be a real good pre-race meal?
Well, we have a lot of carbohydrates here. We've got the whole grain cereal, and really any whole grain cereal. You want to be a little bit careful about getting too much fiber. I'd probably shy away from the 100% bran cereals because it's going to it may cause a little gastric distress. But anyway, the shredded wheat is great. Any of the whole grain cereals are probably good. So you're getting your carbohydrate there. You're getting a good amount of carbohydrate in toast. And I would recommend toast with maybe some jelly, but I'd shy away from the butter. Any fats for a pregame meal are not a good idea because they empty from the stomach so late. I mean, it's going to probably take 4 to 6 hours for that fat to get out of there, and you want everything emptied out of your stomach. The banana is a good source of carbohydrate, also a good source of potassium. The fruit juice, you want to be careful of getting too simple of carbohydrates. In other words, something that's too sweet because of the insulin response. We can talk more about that in a little while. But anyway, this is a very nice high carbohydrate. We've got a little bit of protein in the milk, which just kind of rounds that out. And I recommend the skim milk, even as opposed to the 2% milk.
Yes.
So this will provide the carbohydrate, the fluid, and that's also a very important consideration for a pre-event meal, as well as a little bit of protein.
It seems to me that one of the biggest breakthroughs in sports medicine, sports science in the last 100 years has been the invention of Gatorade. I was at Florida when Dr. Cade invented Gatorade, and it really took us out of the dark ages when it comes to athletic performance. What's happened since Gatorade was developed?
There's been a lot of research done and a breakthrough in fluid hydration status. And what happens there is that you've got the carbohydrate in that drink to help give you the energy, but it doesn't have quite as many little particles like sugar would have. So it doesn't cause the hydration or the dehydration that other sugar drinks might cause.
So it empties from the stomach quicker and gets those all-important fluids with a few of the minerals out into the bloodstream for the muscles to take advantage of.
Right. So drinks with glucose polymers probably are better, or a diluted other kind of sports drink.
Patty, help us put the issue of supplementing with mega dosages of vitamins and minerals to rest. Is that something that an athlete should do or not?
I recommend that if you can get it from your food, get it from your food. The bottom line is that's the best. We don't know, we don't even know all the nutrients that may be in the foods, and if people can eat, they can take a little pill, and we with our limited knowledge, we have certain vitamins and minerals in there, but the food is the best way to get it. B vitamins are real important for releasing energy. Usually if you increase your carbohydrates, you're going to increase your B vitamins.
What foods are good sources of B vitamins?
Your breads, grains, some meats are good sources of B vitamins, and meat, let me point out too, is a good source of iron, which a lot of runners are low on. And I'm talking about very nice lean red meat. Keeping that protein to a minimum. It doesn't take very much to get the iron you need. But that is one nutrient that runners probably need more than others, is the iron. We've got to be very careful of sports anemia.
So far, we've concentrated on the physical approach to racing preparation. To help you get ready mentally, I've asked a sports psychologist for some of his recommendations.
Most of the fun seekers do what is referred to as disassociation. They tend to fantasize while they're running. They tend to perceive their environment. They tend to distract themselves from what they perceive as being the discomfort or the pain in running.
All right. Now, on the other hand, if we have an elite runner, what sort of mental things does he go through or she go through
trying to make a high level of performance.
The elite runner generally associates themselves. In other words, they focus inward. They think about all of the dynamics of the race. They think about how their body is performing, how they feel at different aspects of the race. They totally associate themselves until the last few moments of the race. Then they tend to disassociate themselves from the pain.
Ultimately, what we really have to face up to is a paradox. It's the paradox that says that we need to run to stay healthy, but if we can't stay healthy, we can't run. Runners are notorious for overdoing it, getting hurt.
Anytime someone has a problem that is persistent, that no matter how much they try and taper off, they continue to have some irritation either at the time that they're running or the next day, then if that persists for longer than a 2-week period, 10 days, then they need to seek some professional advice.
Sports medicine's come a long way since my day in college, where they used to just primarily wrap us up with the ACE bandage and immobilize us. So what are you doing now at Georgia Sports Medicine that allows the athlete, the runners, to get back out running again sooner?
With someone like that, we can augment his running program to try and keep his cardiovascular endurance up while we're trying to rehabilitate the injured part with strengthening exercises, flexibility exercises, and some modalities to try and reduce the inflammation and heal the tissues. We can be doing such things as an upper extremity bicycle, where they can use their upper body similar to the way they use their lower body and keep their cardiovascular endurance up. Someone could change and add a swimming program to their routine to get their cardiovascular endurance to maintain it at that level that they would like, so that while the part is being rehabilitated, they can maintain their level of fitness.
Russ, when an athlete does recognize these symptoms, are there things that they can do on their own to help treat?
When someone does have a problem, if you can catch it early enough and treat it the proper way, and that is applying ice to it in a circular fashion for 3 to 5 minutes to the affected area. That will try and hold down some of the inflammation that is in there that causes the irritation.
Yet another component of racing success is good biomechanics. You may have a Jaguar engine, but if the transmission is weak and your wheels are out of alignment, your superior cardiorespiratory system will be compromised by poor efficiency. Good running form has the elbows bent from 90 to 75 degrees, with the forearms staying close to your side with the shoulders relaxed enough to allow a slight swing of the arms across the outside front of the trunk until the hands reach the midpoint of the body. Be sure to keep the back of the wrist close to your waist on the backswing so your arm doesn't fly away from your side and set up an inefficient rotary twisting of your upper body. The stride should feature a foot strike that is directly underneath your center of gravity. Be sure that you're not landing on the back of your heels with your leg extended and the knee locked. This is overstriding, and it's the most common form fault of runners. Try to land more flat-footed to eliminate this error. The best advice I can really offer is to watch the elite runners and model yourself after their form. They're fast because they're efficient. So how can you prepare on race day to perform better? Well, there are 3 important things that you can do on race day to ensure good performance. First, eat a very light pre-race meal of mixed carbohydrates, like Patty told us, with some complex and some simple carbohydrates. Make sure you eat at least 3 or 4 hours before the gun. Secondly, really warm up thoroughly by jogging 1 to 1.5 miles, doing some stretching, and then running 4 or 5 50-yard easy sprints at a pace a lot faster than you'll use in the race. Then keep your glow by staying active until the start. Don't allow yourself to cool back down waiting for long instructions. Jog in place if you have to. Finally, don't go out too fast in the first mile. That's a common rookie runner mistake, which results in a large oxygen debt that will slow you down the rest of the race. Run the first mile only as fast as you need to in order to average your pace for the whole race. Even split times for each mile are the best way to spend your energy.
improve performance. That's what it's really all about. Being able to stay healthy while we run and enjoy it. It's a paradox, though. We have to stay healthy in order to run, so we can run and be healthy. Putting them together, having a good, smart program with all the components, having seasons, taking rest in between the seasons, having easy days to make sure we can do the good quality hard days. That's what it's all about. I hope this program has helped you to understand these components and put them together in a successful pattern that will keep you out there for many years. Happy trails.